Okay, now it's time to get to business. So we're going to throw some real discs here, but we first want to talk about how to grip the discus, which is important for younger throwers to figure out pretty early. So you want to grip the discus with your index finger and your middle finger a little bit closer together, cradling the disc over the top portion of your fingertips, and your thumb rests at the front half of the disc. So Sam's going to show you. Perfect. It's hard to hold. You don't want to actually be able to hold it in your hand. That's why she's got the non-throwing hand for support. But the discus, yeah, so this is kind of a perfect grip. You may want to play around with it depending on your hand size and that kind of thing, but this is pretty standard. So when you're young, Sam said she practiced a lot of just tossing the discus up in the air, learning how to squeeze the discus out of her hand. So you want to do that a couple times? Nice. So she's just working on a nice rotation and squeezing her fingers back towards her thumb to get a clockwise rotation. So that's just an easy activity you can do to learn how to release the discus when it's really moving. All right, let's get to some throwing. So Sam's going to do a couple stand throws now with an actual disc with no reverse at the end. So she's going to block hard and her feet are not going to leave the ground. Again, she's going to draw that discus back and work on a nice long orbit. She's going to work on her lower body moving first and keeping optimal separation for her between her shoulders and her hips and her non-throwing shoulder and her throwing hand. Nice, good block, strong block at the finish. Okay, so it's good for your coach to be able to watch both from the side and from the back. From the back, a coach can really see the orbit of the discus, which is important and often overlooked with younger throwers as they're trying to figure out their body positions. But it's important to get a very long circular orbit with the discus, and it's easier for a coach to see from the back of the ring. So Sam's going to do 2 more throws, and if you can just draw the discus back and stop there so I can show kind of the high and low point. So right here, Sam's drawn the discus back, and you notice that her discus is not down by her butt, but pretty high up instead of down here. That's important because she's going to then come around and release from that same point. So the discus will come through a nice wide orbit, will drop a little lower at the back of the ring, and then as she comes back around to 180 degrees, the discus is going to basically end up at the same height where it started. All right, Sam. Nice. Very good flight, especially on that second one. She did a good job of waiting on the discus to come around before she really slapped the finish, and that's important. A lot of throwers will get so used to moving their hands as fast as they can and moving their body that they forget about waiting on the orbit of the discus. So that was a very good second throw. Okay, now Sam's also going to do a stand throw with a reverse. I believe in a lot of non-reverse throws so that you can really practice on getting everything you can out of your body before you jump into a reverse. But it is good to practice the mechanics of the reverse, and doing it off of a stand is a good way to ensure that you're starting in a balanced position, which you should be when you finish a throw, and just to work a little bit more slowly on how to get that foot back around and back into the ring. So she's going to try a couple stand throws with a reverse.